significance. Now, so far we discussed Hatshepsut, right? Tai, Nefertari. Okay. Now we got two queens from Nubia and a bonus, right? So we have Amanirenas of Nubia. Okay, Amanirenas of Nubia. Okay. So she was one of the most formidable rulers of the Kingdom of Kush. I told you we was dealing with the Nile Valley. We wasn't going to stay in Egypt long. So the powerful Nubian civilization that thrived in what is now Sudan. Shout out to the fam in Sudan. She ruled from approximately 40 before Common Era to 10 before Common Era BCE, and was part of the Kandake or Candace dynasty. What is the Candace dynasty? This is a line of powerful queens who often ruled independently or as co-regents with kings. In this case, though, Amanirenas, she was by herself with this one. So she inherited a kingdom with strong military traditions and deep spiritual connections to the gods. So remember, Tasseti is also known as the land of the bow. Tasseti. So but they didn't have that, they didn't get that name for nothing. So as Kandake, she was, or Kandake, okay, she was expected to not just be a ruler, but a warrior, a strategist, and a religious leader who defended her land and its cultural identity. So she wasn't for all that talking. Okay, Amanirenas, she wasn't for that talking. She came in. She was expected to be a warrior, a strategist, and then a religious leader. This girl threw hands. She was serious about that. Okay, because there was a war against Rome. Yeah, remember, this is 40 BC. So Rome tried to expand into Nubia. Remember, at this point in time, they're already colonized and occupied Kemet. Now they're trying to push southward into Nubia. The Nubians wasn't having that. They were like, no, we're not doing all that. We ain't got time for all that. What you can do, though, is hit that U-turn and go to the house. The war against Rome. One of the defining moments Amanirenas' reign was her conflict with the Roman Empire. In 30 BCE, following the defeat of Cleopatra. That's the reason why she's not on the list. She's not on the list. And after the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony, Egypt fell under Roman control. And Emperor Augustus attempted to expand Roman influence south into Nubia. Refusing to accept Roman rule, Amanirenas launched an audacious military campaign against Rome. Yep. She wasn't playing with them. She said, I heard what you did to Kemet. You're not doing that to us. Okay, so she invaded southern Egypt and captured several cities along the way, including the Aswan and Pali. Okay, the Aswan people are still in the same area, the southern border of Egypt. Her forces destroyed Roman statues and even defaced a statue of Emperor Augustus, symbolizing Nubian resistance against foreign dominance. Y'all, Amanirenas wasn't playing. You see the picture. You see it. She got them all yoked up. She about to give them that permanent relaxation. She was not playing with them. She's going to give them that work. You come around here if you want to. But Nubia, we're not playing that. Okay? Yeah, so her forces destroyed Roman statues, and she led a military campaign against Rome. Okay? So she was powerful. She was serious. Okay? So Rome tried to retaliate. She tried to retaliate. All right, sending its legions to push back. They tried to push back the Nubians. Despite suffering significant losses, Amanirenas and her army fiercely resisted, engaging in prolonged warfare that lasted several years. Nubia was not playing with the Romans, and plus it's too hot. So Nubia wasn't playing with him. Okay. Now, dealing with religion, her religious significance and leadership. She was not just a warrior, she was also deeply connected to Nubian religious traditions, right? The Nubians worship gods like Amun and Apidmak, the lion-headed god of war. That's probably another reason them Romans wasn't crossing that border. One of their deities is not Sekhmet, but is Apedimak, the god of war, and then Isis. Okay, all of whom were central to their spiritual life. As Kandake, Amanirenas was queen as a semi-divine ruler with direct ties to the Neteru. She often appeared in temple reliefs and inscriptions, performing ritual. So there's some temple reliefs showing her throwing hands. There's others images of her pouring libation. Right? She had to be both. All right, perform rituals ensuring the favor of the Neteru and her ancestors in battles against Rome. Her military campaigns were not just political, but also spiritual. She framed the war as a struggle to protect the sacred lands of Nubia from Roman desecration. That was her. She was there to protect the sacred lands of Nubia, because you're not going to come through here doing to us what you did to Egypt. You can go and leave now, right? So she defied Rome, okay? And so she was also diplomatic about her process, okay? Despite Rome's superior military strength, Amanirenas resisted and forced the emperor of Rome to negotiate. Get it? Think about it. She made. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about it that much. They're not going to talk about it that much. But yeah, she was right. She had to protect the lands of Nubia, and it got to the point to where Rome had to withdraw and sign a peace treaty. So they left the Nubian territory and accept the region from paying tribute. You weren't gonna make Nubia pay, no way. They wasn't paying. They wasn't paying no money. What you can do is kick rocks and go on where you come from. Go back to the Mediterranean. Go back to the Nile Delta. But you're not going to come through here trying to force us to pay taxes to you. No, it's not happening. All right. So this was a huge diplomatic victory, as very few nations successfully resisted Roman expansion. This peace treaty ensured that Nubia remained independent for centuries. Nubia, Ethiopia, there's reasons why Nubia and Ethiopia remained independent from European control for many centuries. And this is one reason, one of the reasons. Okay. Amanirenas, she wasn't playing with them. She kicked everybody out. So this peace treaty ensured that Nubia remained independent, preserving its culture, preserving its language, preserving its religious practices. Amanirenas' victory against Rome cemented her legacy as one of the greatest warrior queens in Nubia. And she is believed to have ruled for 3 decades. Wow. She ruled for 30 years. And she likely passed away in 10 before Common Era, though her exact burial site remains unknown. Okay. She was honored in Nubian temples and inscriptions as legendary ruler. Even today, she is celebrated as symbol of African resistance and female empowerment, proving that Nubia was a force to be reckoned with in the ancient world. So we have Hatshepsut, we have Tayi, we have Nefertari, we have Amanirenas of Nubia. Right now, we have Amanishaketo. Okay, Shaketo, all right, Amanishaketo, the warrior queen of and builder of Kush. Now, now get this though. Get this. Did you know that there were multiple groups and kingdoms south of Egypt? What happens is, like and comment, by the way, if you want to discuss this, the other kingdoms of Sudan, because what happens is we try to put everybody in one category, all of Nubia in one banner. There was Tasseti, there was Meroë, there was so many other kingdoms. That's the reason why they were saying, hey, Ramses II, you may be the queen, the king of the north and south up there, but you're not that down here. So like and comment if you want us to discuss the other kingdoms, multiple kingdoms of Sudan. Okay, I've already been asked to discuss the Kemetic connection to Congo. There is a Kemetic connection to the Bakongo. Remember, Congo, Uganda, Kenya, all those places were the point of origin. That was the point of origin for Kemet. I'm not saying 5 years, okay, they moved from Congo up. No. That point of origin, Ethiopia, Kenya, and all those places, that was the birthplace for Kemet later on. Okay? Let me know if you want to discuss the other kingdoms of Sudan. Let me see. Somebody. Yep. Library Without Borders. Yep. Yeah, we're going to get to it. Greet everybody. Hit the like button as you come in. Greetings. All right. Shout out to Library Without Borders. Yeah, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna lean into that one. All right. Yeah, let's go. Now, as the queen, Amanishaketo ruled the Kingdom of Kush during the 1st century before Common Era, following the traditions of the Kandake or Candaces or Kandake, the powerful warrior queens of Nubia. They weren't just sitting back taking selfies. They weren't just posting on social media all the time. They were warriors, and they had to be, as we know, they had to be. Okay, all right. While historical records about her earlier life is scarce, it's evident that she came from royal lineage and valued military strength, which was a necessity. Okay, religious leadership and architectural advancements. Amanishaketo likely ascended the throne after the reign of Amanirenas, continuing the legacy of resisting foreign influence, continuing the legacy of resisting foreign influence, maintaining Nubian sovereignty, and overseeing vast construction projects that reinforced Kushite culture. Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, we're going to have to engage in this conversation. We have to go and get to that, right? So let's go. Now, according to some sources, okay, in Meroitic hieroglyphs, her name is written Amani Kasheto or Minishakti or Amnishakti, okay, Amani or Mini Shakti or Amnishakti. In Meroë cursive, she's referred to Amanishaketo Kor Kandake. Okay, remember these people of the Nile Valley did not have vowels. They didn't have A, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. Those words were broken up. Okay, she was Kore, and Kandake. She was Kore and Kandake, ruler and queen. Kore, which is ruler, Kandake and queen. All right. And what's this on her face? I'm just wondering about that. It's not wrinkles, I don't think. Okay, if you're looking at the picture, I don't think that's wrinkles on her face. All right, I don't think so. Now, I noticed her name, by the way. I noticed her name, as well as the previous queens, began with the word Amani. What do you think? What do you think, fam? Is that a royal title, Amani? Or Is that a royal title? Is that a feminine version of the word Amun? What do you think? Like and comment below. What do you think? Is that Amani? Is that a royal title? Because Amani, her previous ruler, the previous queen had that also. Amanirenas. Now Amanishaketo. Was that a royal title? Okay, what do you think? Like the predecessor, Amanishaketo, as a warrior queen, she defeated She defended Nubia's borders against external threat. Now, during her reign, don't forget to hit the like button, by the way. During her reign, she continued to strengthen the Kushite military forces, ensuring that her kingdom remained independent from Rome's growing influence. They wasn't playing with these people from the outside. Now, and I think Dr. Ben mentioned this, and Dr. John Henry Clark mentioned this. When Greece and Rome pushed into Egypt, the original inhabitants of the original people of Kemet went south into Kush and further into Ethiopia. Why? Because they was the same culture. They was cousins. But them foreigners, you can stay where you at. So some historical sources suggest that Amanishaketo engaged in battles against neighboring tribes and potential invaders, maintaining the stability of Nubia's southern and northern frontiers. And she likely utilized war elephants. I want to see this. War elephants for real. I want to see that. Archers and cavalry. She was a military strategist. She was a warrior queen, which were essential components of the Kushite military, especially the archers. Okay, they was called the eye smiters. They could see you before you see them. Okay, but I want to see that. War elephants, man. But yeah, we're going to discuss that though. We're going to get into the Nile River War this summer. We're going to talk about that. Shout out to Brother Mo and the fam. We're about to lock in and engage in this conflict. Okay, I'm learning as you guys learn. I'm excited about this, y'all. Yeah. So her religious and divine authority. Of course, it has some religious undertone, right? So she played a significant role as a religious leader, emphasizing her divine authority as ruler. The Kushites worshipped several major gods of Nibiru, including Amun, Apet-Medak, and Isis. See, Isis and Amun was not just an Egyptian thing. It was an African thing, okay? Because remember, for those who've been following for a long time, Egypt or Kemet was the daughter of Nubia and the granddaughter of Ethiopia. So therefore, a lot of their customs, the African customs, were intertwined and connected. Okay, the languages over time may have changed, but a lot of the customs, the underlying customs, were the same. Okay, so as queen, she commissioned religious temples and sculptures that depicted her as a divine ruler, chosen by the gods. She frequently appeared in temple reliefs, offering sacrifices, making divine decrees, pouring libations to the ancestors, which is an African custom, and leading religious ceremonies. One of them is the Lion Temple. Okay, and get this, one of her greatest contributions to Nubian culture was her ambitious building projects, including this temple, pyramids, temples, and palaces that showcase the distinct Kushite architectural style. Speaking of that, should we go further south and discuss the Lion Temple of Naka? Yeah, we already going to deal with Queen Hatshepsut's temple. Should we go south? Y'all hit the like button. Should we go south and deal with and discuss the temple at the Lion Temple at Naka? All right. But speaking of that, though, the Black Pyramid. This is Sebek-Neferu's father's pyramid. We are going to discuss that. Okay, we're going to discuss that because last week we mentioned chambers and things like that under the pyramids. But what we do know for sure, there is a labyrinth. There is a series of chambers close to or by the Black Pyramid. We are going to break that down. We are going to get into that conversation. All right. So stay tuned for that. So one of the greatest contributions was the building projects, and her pyramid tomb located in Meroë is one of the most famous Nubian pyramids, reflecting the unique the steep-sided pyramid. They kind of have a higher angle, different angle, built by the Kushites, differing from the older and larger pyramids of Egypt. But I'm going to tell you this, though. There are more pyramids in Sudan than there are in Egypt. Did you guys know that? There are more pyramids in Nubia than there are in Egypt. Let me see. What's going on? Shout out to Brother Mo. Greetings, everyone. Just got in from my son's district track meet. Did he win though? Or did he break a record? Just saying, because man, look, shout out to Prince Cam. He is in Langston. He's breaking records too. Yeah. Yes, in Sudan. Yeah, there are more pyramids in Sudan than there are in Egypt. Because remember, they had to get it somewhere. They had to get, even though the Great Pyramids of Giza were, of course, they were older in establishment, but there are some stone structures and a lot of pyramids in Sudan, and Nabta Playa. Nabta Playa was also a stone monument lined up with stars too. All right, they're going to area. Yeah, that's what's up. All right. Yeah. So why are we're only finding this out now? The thing is, I dealing with Meroë. I didn't know that until I went to college. Little old Paul Quinn College in Dallas. Shout out to Paul Quinn. Gave me a good sound history education. Miss Matthews, she was a one of our esteemed and prestigious history professors. She told us about Meroë. She told us about Kush. We knew about Egypt, but we didn't know about Meroë. So that's the reason why I'm making those connections like that. Yeah, it's but the thing is, in some place it is common knowledge to some, but not really to us. All right. All right. So her final resting place. She's buried in a pyramid tomb. Okay. And she left behind an extensive collection of royal jewelry and treasures, demonstrating the wealth and craftsmanship of the Kushite civilization. Many of these treasures made of gold, because Nub, the word Nub means gold. N-U-B means gold. Okay, so Nubia. All right, many of these treasures made of gold and adorned with intricate carvings of the gods and pharaohs they were discovered. They were discovered in the 19th century by European explorers. They didn't discover that; they stole that. Because all of a sudden, once they got all that, because look, if you guys are looking, this monument here is her resting place, but as you can see, it is basically destroyed. Yeah, it is basically destroyed, and so even though she did great and wonderful things, she had great works and so on, she, her tomb was destroyed. Okay. And so she likely ruled for several decades before passing away. And the royal cemetery of the Kushite kings, she was buried there. Despite later invasions by the Aksumite Empire and internal conflicts, her legacy as a warrior, builder, and religious leader remains strong. Okay. And today she's recognized as one of the most influential queens of ancient Africa, embodying the resilience and power and cultural richness of the Kushite civilization. But check this out. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That's not wrinkles. Look at this Nubian. These are Nubian facial scars. That is scarification. That is because normally we would see that in West Africa. Yeah, we're about to get into that too. But the thing is, they could not deny her skin tone. Nubia's Nubia. She was black. So, yeah. Yes. Tribal markings. Yeah. And we've seen that before. Okay. The sister on the left, according to the photo, she's Egyptian. And this was about 100 years ago. Sister on the right, you see that? Skins, there's tribal markers right there. Okay. Tribal markers right there. All right. But let's argue. Let's get it. Now, y'all can pause if you want to and look at it. Look at this. This is the Sphinx, or the Heru Em Akhet, and our sister from Sudan. Some people would say that's due to weathering. I don't know about that. I think because we discussed that the Sphinx or the Heru Aket is 10,500 years old. So was those lines representation of Nubian scarification? What do you think? All right. What do you think? Because, and also, let's see. I said it was something going on with Sobek Neferu and the Sphinx. Yeah. We're gonna make that connection too. We're not done with that. Yeah, I said it was something going on with Sobek Neferu and the Sphinx. Yes, because she had to wear, she wore, or one of the statues, she was represented as the Sphinx also. Okay. Yeah, but we're not done with the connection too. All right. But let me go further a little bit. Let me push the button. Let me push this button. I think that's the face of a woman. I think the Heru Maket is not a face of a man, it's the face of a woman. So, was there a connection between the Pharaoh, whoever that was, the Sphinx, and Sekhmet? What do y'all think? Yeah, that we can go. All right. All right. Now, so far we talked about Hatshepsut Tai, Nefertari, Amanirenas, Amanishaketo, and we got a bonus. Yeah, yes, as promised, we got a bonus. We have a bonus. Queen Makeda of Sheba, an honorable mention. We got to go there. We had to. Yeah, to a degree. You know about that image. Yeah, to a degree. Yeah. And so Queen Makeda of Sheba said, so if you're going to make a statue of someone, make it accurate. Why not add facial scarring? Yeah, why not? If we're gonna make it into a person, might as well put everything on there. But then, if it was a woman, if the Sphinx was representation of a woman, who was this woman? I got so many questions. I don't know everything, but I love to learn, y'all. All right, so we got a bonus. Queen Makeda of Sheba. Okay. Now, dealing with this, Queen Makeda was commonly known as the Queen of Sheba. She's one of the most revered figures in Ethiopian, Arabian, and biblical history. While the exact dates of her reign remain uncertain, she's believed to have ruled around the 10th century BCE. So this is technically after, okay, Amanishaketo, okay, and so this is after that, and so she reigned over a large area, okay, Makeda of Sheba. She reigned over a large area. She reigned not only over Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Yemen, because truth be told, Yemen is the eastern part of Ethiopia. All right. So her origins are described in multiple historical and religious texts, including the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, okay, where she is said to have visited King Solomon, the Quran, which refers to her as Balikis, a wise, wonderful ruler, and the Kebra Nagast, an Ethiopian text that details her relationship with Solomon and the birth of Ethiopia's royal lineage. Now, scholars do debate whether Makeda was a historical figure or a legend. Her impact on Ethiopian identity, religion, and monarchy is undeniable. Now, she did go to, according to some sources, she went to Jerusalem. One of the most famous stories about Queen Makeda is her visit to King Solomon. Okay, King Solomon of Israel, as told in 1 Kings chapter 10, 2 Chronicles chapter 9. According to some of those accounts, she traveled to Jerusalem to test Solomon's wisdom. She wanted to know. Okay, after hearing of his renowned intelligence, she wanted to find out, right? The journey from Sheba, which is likely, this is Ethiopia, to Jerusalem was long and treacherous, requiring Makeda to travel across vast deserts and mountains. She brought with her a caravan of precious gifts, including gold, spices, and rare gems. Upon meeting Solomon, Makeda engaged in philosophical and theological discussion, testing him with riddles and questions. The Hebrew Bible states that Solomon answered all her inquiries, impressing her with his knowledge and wisdom. So, yeah, she legend really because she couldn't be a part of their legacy. Yeah, yeah. They like to make our people myths and legends. They like to make our monarchs. We don't know for sure if the pyramids were built by Africans. We don't know for sure if Queen Makeda was a real person. Come on, y'all. And this gave birth to the Solomon dynasty. Makeda is credited by establishing Ethiopian religious traditions, which later evolved into the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. As I mentioned earlier, one of the oldest Christian communities in the world. According to Ethiopian legend, Queen Makeda and Solomon had a son named Menelik. Menelik the First. The Keber Nagas recounts that Menelik was raised in Ethiopia, but later traveled over to Jerusalem, where he was recognized as Solomon's son. Now, here we go. When Menelik returned to Ethiopia, he allegedly took with him the Ark of the Covenant. Yep, that's what they say. They say Menelik left Jerusalem and took the Ark of the Covenant with him. Okay, the sacred chest containing the Ten Commandments. This event was foundational to Ethiopian history. It is established in the Solomonic dynasty, which ruled Ethiopia for centuries, right up until Haile Selassie I in the 20th century. Yeah, I didn't say. Most said, "Wow, now I didn't know that about the Ethiopian church." Yeah. And where is the ark? Where the ark is kept today? Yeah, it's according to the Ethiopian church. It is still in Ethiopia. It is still housed in Addis Ababa. Where exactly? They say it's at one of the older churches there, but some people they still saying that they're not sure, they're not certain, that kind of thing. It's a legend, alleged and stuff like that. But the belief that the Ark of the Covenant remains in Ethiopia, housed in, here it comes, it is this is one of the locations, housed in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum. Okay, the Church of Our Lady Mary. Okay, that's in Ethiopia. Addis Ababa is a central element of Ethiopian religious tradition. There we go. Isu saying Aksum, Aksum, Tigray, or Ethiopia. Yeah. And so she had a lot of economic and political influence. Okay, so she dealt with trade, wealth, and diplomacy. The region controlled vital trade routes, particularly those linked to Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. So Ethiopia was a major port towards the Indian Ocean, or the Ethiopian Ocean, by the way. All right. So Makeda's reign solidified Sheba, Ethiopia's status as a global trading hub. Queen Makeda's legacy, her legacy is deeply woven into Ethiopian identity, as well as the wider African Middle Eastern historical narrative. She is revered, respected as the mother of Ethiopian monarchy. She's a symbol of wisdom, beauty, and strength, admired for her intellect and leadership. She was a key figure in religious tradition, particularly in the Ethiopian Christianity and Rastafarian beliefs, which regard her lineage as divinely ordained. Her story continues to inspire literature, art, and religious thought through from medieval European manuscripts to modern African folklore. Queen Makeda of Sheba, or Ethiopia, is one of the most legendary queens in history, blending myth, religion, and historical influence. Whether seen as real or historical figure or symbolic, her impact is undeniable. Right? So, and we have to get to this. Now, when you look up, because we already, yeah, when you look up Queen Makeda of Sheba, this lady on this side shows up. Like, bro, we know good and well we know good. We know good and well that Ethiopian wasn't that light skinned. I'm saying they tried it. They tried it. They really did. They tried it. When you look up the Queen of Sheba, yeah, this person shows up. Okay, yeah. They keep doing it. They keep doing this stuff. Like, bro, what you doing? Okay, now this is the reason. Somebody asked me why Cleopatra ain't hurt. She's not. Okay, she's an opportunist, and another reason is that she was not recognized in the Abydos list or the king's list. Now, there's the Greco-Romans that may have added her to a list, but she was not recognized as the Insubiti or queen or Nepatawi of Egypt. She wasn't. Okay, just like when say for example, George Washington, somebody inhabited parts of the in East Coast and along the United States, you may say you're president, but the Native Americans may say otherwise. Yeah. We black. You sure right. And this chick right here, she ain't. So the lies they fed us so long. Yeah. But that's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why we teach. That's the reason why we share the information. I share what I know, and hopefully somebody get a hold of it, right? But yeah. Down there, southern part of Nubia in Ethiopia, nah. You didn't look like that. Ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way. So, but I got an idea. Should we talk about the top 5 priestesses of Egypt? Let me know. Let me know if we get into that, because there's so many things we gotta deal with, right? And so before I check roll, because I am going to check roll, you know what I'm saying? I am going to do that. Remember the queens of the Nile Valley: Hatshepsut, Queen Tayi, Nefertari, Amanirenas, Amanishaketo, and Queen Makeda. They exemplify power, intelligence, resilience, whether through governance, diplomacy, cultural patronage, religious influence, or military prowess. These women shaped the history of ancient Egypt, Nubia, and Ethiopia, leaving legacies that continue to inspire us today. I got a question though. Before I check roll, give me your top. We did 5 and a bonus, but what is your favorite, your one queen of the Nile Valley? Okay. I know some people may have a different view. If you had one, what would be that one? All right. What would be that one? But yeah, we're going to get into this roll call. Now, if you're still here, if you stay to the very end, go ahead and comment present. Yeah, if you're still here, shout out to the fam. Much love to you guys. Comment, type in present. All right. Yeah. And get this. This is the book we're into. The first female pharaoh, Sebek Neferu, the goddess of the 7 stars. All right. Yep. We got one. All right. So yeah, you get your credit for the day. Yeah, you get credit for the day. Okay. All right, Mo. Yeah. Shout out to the fam. Yeah, you get credit. Very good. Very good. You will not be marked absent today. Yeah. So yeah, we're dealing with the first female pharaoh, Sebek Neferu. Okay, Blue. Very good. Very good. Very good. The first female pharaoh, Sebek Neferu, the goddess of 7 stars. This is our book. The link is in the description, as well as the other books. Okay, there's some other books and other things. And by the way, yeah, speaking of that, I do have it on. I do have a shirt, Queens of the South shirt. The link is also in the description. We do have merch, and I decided to put it on today. See what I'm saying? So yeah. Okay. So you said Makeda? Yeah, okay. But keep in mind, it doesn't have to be the ones that I pick, because everybody's different, right? So yeah. So the link is in the description. So the book suggestions, and the Queens of the South shirt. Yeah, the link is in the description. Check it out. And so if you liked the comment, if you like the content, share it with somebody that may enjoy it, or you can share it on Facebook. Okay. Share with somebody or on Facebook. All right. So we just talked about the Queens of the Nile, legendary queens, legendary women who ruled ancient Egypt and Nubia. Okay. All right. Before we go, do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions or concerns before we call it? I think I hijacked your time long enough. Okay. If there are none, if there are no questions, I really appreciate you guys for coming. And yeah, we are gonna we got a few more weeks to deal with the first female pharaoh.